Well, the White House says victory in Afghanistan will take time. Meanwhile, fraud allegations over last month's presidential election continue to mount. Complaints up to 2,000 now. Also, U.S. casualties climbing as well. At least 738 American forces have died in that region since 2001. I want to bring in former Brigadiere General Mark Kimmitt. He joins us now from D.C. General Kimmitt, we certainly appreciate you being here, sir. I want to start first with the government. The election we saw there just a few weeks back, still don't have the results. But start with that. How important is it, or how much would it complicate the U.S. mission there if this election is not seen as legitimate by the people of Afghanistan?
Well, it is important for the election to be seen as legitimate by the people of Afghanistan, and all indications are that it was generally a free and fair election. The most important thing that we will see is whether the people accept the new government, and all indications are that they will.
That they will. All right, let's go back a little bit now. And if we say in 2001 that the Taliban, with its strength level, was at a 10. Let's just do a scale of 1 to 10 here. If its strength level right before the 9/11 attacks was a 10, over the past 8 years now, where was that strength at its lowest point? And tell me today, where is their strength on that scale of 1 to 10?
Well, strength may not be the right word as much as influence. Clearly, they had 100%, they had a 10 in 2001. They controlled the country. They were cutting the arms off of people that disagreed with them. They were killing people who violated their slightest rules. Things seem to get better over the next couple of years. The amount of influence that the Taliban have now, I don't think anybody can really answer that, but it is certainly more influence now than it was in the past couple of years. Well, and that's what General McChrystal and Ambassador Eikenberry are trying to deal with.
So that's an interesting way you put that. It sounds like influence could almost be just as, or may be even more important than strength. They have an influence over the Afghan people, and as long as they have influence there, that means the U.S. military and the NATO forces are losing a bit of influence.
Well, it's clearly a struggle for that influence and for the people on the ground. That's one of the basic tenets of counterinsurgency. Do the people fall under the influence and the intimidation of the Taliban, or are they going to throw their hats in with a centrally elected government?
We heard General McChrystal in a piece that our reporter did right before you came on with us here, talking about didn't really start over. A lot of people would phrase it that way, that there was a new beginning that was needed. From what you have seen since General McChrystal got in place, and also since the Obama administration got in place, is it clear that there is somewhat of a starting over here?
Well, I would, again, like what General McChrystal said, it isn't a starting over, it's a continuation. These types of campaigns ebb and flow over time. It is certainly the case that with new leadership on the ground, new leadership in the White House, more of a focus on Afghanistan than on Iraq, that there is going to be a fresh look, a new look, but starting over, that is certainly not the case.
How much does public sentiment, and should public sentiment, we know it's going down a little bit for support for what's happening in Afghanistan, but should that ever, as a military guy, and you deal with a lot of politicians who are making more policy and even political decisions, yes, but how much does that ever really come into play when you're making military decisions out there? If you don't have the support of the American people on something, can that influence, and should it influence, what's actually happening on the ground?
Well, quite frankly, political will, public support is absolutely essential. It's not simply about troops. It's not simply about stuff. It's not simply about civilians. That's one component. We call that the capabilities. But none of those capabilities are of any value if you don't have public support, domestic will. Will and capabilities, you must have both those when you fight a protracted military campaign. And it is important for everyone, up to and including the president, not only to ensure that our troops have enough, but that the American people are behind the effort as well.
All right. Again, Brigadier General Mark Kimmitt. Sir, we appreciate you taking the time out. I know it's a busy holiday weekend. A lot of people are taking some time off, but we appreciate you giving us some of your time on this holiday weekend, and enjoy the rest of it. General Kimmitt, you take care.
Thank you very much.